Hi everyone, welcome to Big OGGIE World. I am currently in a blanket in my living room, drying out and warming up after another very difficult adventure walking out towards the cliffs on my very early morning walks. Today was a really bad weather day, as seems to be happening a lot at the moment. So today, Kelly isn't feeling very well. She's in bed. Said I'm just recovering from my walk this morning, so I thought we'd make something warming and hearty. We are making today soup. We are doing pea and ham soup. Really good pea and ham soup. Proper pea and ham soup. Now, if you've yet to subscribe, if you've only met this channel now and you've met us now, please click the subscribe button. We are just husband and wife team who love cooking, passionate about what we do, and it's all home cooked stuff. Okay, so great for you, great for your family, great for friends. Okay, nothing fancy, just really nice wholesome food. So, as I said, today we are doing pea and ham soup. I say today because we kind of started this yesterday, or I started this yesterday. We are using a ham hock, which we bought from Morrison's local supermarket. Any butcher will do as well, any other supermarket will do. And we popped that into a big pot of cold water. We've left it overnight to soak. Sometimes they can be quite salty. So we've left them overnight to soak. We drained that off, put some fresh water in today, and I'm currently making a stock. So what we do with that, that's why I'm sitting here, nothing else to do for a while, is chop up a carrot, an onion, a stick of celery, add yourself some peppercorns, some trimmings of a leek. We used a leek, basically chopped a leek up, and a bay leaf. Don't forget the bay leaf, okay? Pop all that into your pan, big saucepan, because it's got to be a deep pan for this, big stock pot. Make sure that you've covered your ham hock with enough water for that, and just bring it up to just below a boil. So it's kind of a simmer, kind of a heavy simmer. And then I'm going to leave it for, well, right now for us, another couple of hours. But for you, about 3 hours. Pop back every hour or so, skim off any fat, because obviously there's quite a lot of fat on a ham hock. That's predominantly what it is. And after about 3 hours, all that meat should fall off the bone. And it should be reduced enough for us to have some beautiful stock to carry on with the rest of the recipe. Once that's done, you'll see me in the kitchen. But for now, I'm going to read my book and chill out for a little while. So here we are in the kitchen. Now, this is your ham hock stock, okay, or ham stock. All I did was, after 3 hours, took the meat out. Meat is now in this bowl here, and we'll shred that up later. But you take all the meat off the bone when it's cool enough to handle, throw away the bones. Then you get a colander, put it onto another saucepan, pour out all your liquid and all your vegetables and everything, discard all the stuff, all the vegetables and herbs, etc. And you're left with the stock. Skim any fat off at the top, but don't panic too much about that, because you're actually going to be putting butter in this bit in a minute. So you take off some fat, add another, different kind. We've actually got about 1.5 litres, and I need 1 litre for this. Now you can keep some of this back, and then if it's your soup's a little bit thick later, just add a bit more stock and that'll loosen it up. But ideally, you can just freeze that. Stick it in one of those soup packs you can get, or a container, and just freeze it. Use it for another time. It's actually, it takes 3 hours on this, so why not make a double lot? Why not make more? And then you can just get rid of that whole section next time. So although it seems like a time-consuming thing, if you've got a load in the freezer, you've already done it. It's also a good bit of advice when, we haven't done it yet, but when we do a French onion soup to double the amount of onions, then you can freeze half of them, because that gets rid of that, again, length of time to take what could be a good hour or more to do your onions. So, I digress. We'll go back to this recipe. Now, in the ham hot stock, there was an onion and celery and a carrot. In the actual soup, there's another little bit of celery and another onion. But it's all fresh stuff now. So what we need to do, we need to chop up the onion, and we need to chop up the celery. So we're just going to do this quickly. I like taking my fingers off. Only got my small knife with me today, but that's fine. Okay, so that's my onions in, and my celery. Then we're going to add size bun of butter, 50 grams. And we're just going to fry these off. It's going to take about 10 minutes. Just do them gently. So you don't really want colour, you just want to soften everything. There we go. So, be back in about 10 minutes. You don't want to see me just softening onions. I mean, not the most exciting thing in the world. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but whilst we're softening these onions and this little bit of celery, it doesn't have to be the best chopping, okay? That's why I just use a small knife today. Not making a fine dice or anything. It's going to all be blitzed up. At the end, it's going to be a soup. So, looking fine. Be a few more minutes yet though. The other thing is, you may have noticed that I've not actually put any seasoning in anything yet. There's a lot of salt from the ham hock, even though we kept it in water for overnight. That takes some of it off, but it's still quite salty, and I've tasted some of the meat. So we won't season until the end. All we season in the end. We've also got peppercorns in the stock itself, so from the salt from the ham hock and the peppercorns in it, the stock should be pretty good. Yeah, but we don't need to season anything else till near the end. Just check it. Always check. So, going to give us another few minutes to soften these down a bit more, and I'll be back. Right, so it's been 15 minutes or so now, 10-15 minutes. The onions and the celery are softened, but they're not colouring, which is how we want it. Now, to this, we're going to add split peas, because we're actually doing a split pea and ham soup. So, split peas is the kind of yellow, and they're lovely, they're dried. Think about this like a peas pudding. So, if you've made peas pudding, in fact, we might do that in a recipe. We might do a peas pudding, but you kind of use again. You make ham stock and you use the peas, make a peas pudding. So it's kind of that, but in the soup. So we'll put all those in there. 200 grams. A few bounced around the floor. That's my style for you. There we go. We'll stir those in a second. And to that, we're going to add a litre of our ham hock stock. Give it a stir. We get it all. There we go. Now, stir it all up, make sure nothing's sticking at the bottom. Then we're going to bring this up in temperature. You get it to a simmer, and then you can allow it to simmer for an hour, because obviously these are dried peas. They need to soak, they need to cook, and then it'll be almost done. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you what happens next, and we're going to add that as a little bit of B-roll footage, just mainly to make this a shorter video for you. So you bring this up in heat, then you bring it down slightly to a simmer. You simmer it for an hour. Once that's done, take a look at it, test your seasoning. Okay, obviously if it's a little bit thick, you can put a bit more of the stock. If not, it'll be fine. Then you're going to get either a hand blender. Look, we've got new toy hand blender. I'll show you that later on the B-roll. If you don't have a hand blender to blitz this up, you can use it. You can use a normal blender, one of those normal blenders you can get. Just do it in batches. Make sure if you're doing that though, to put a tea towel over the top of the blender when you're holding it, okay? Because you don't want it boiling hot stuff to be spilling all over you. Not a good look having to take it to A&E. Once that's done, it is pretty much done. You can then shred up your ham. You can add a little bit of crème fraîche, maybe a little swirl of crème fraîche if you want. We don't have any, so we won't be doing that today on the picture. The other thing to do is get yourself, well, 50 to 100 grams of frozen peas. We're using petit pois because Kelly prefers those to normal frozen garden peas. Cook them as usual, as they're normal, then drain them. And then when you pour this soup into bowls, just add a little handful of those as well. adds another dimension. Give that a slight stir in your bowl, and then put your shredded ham on top in a little pile. Like I said, if you're using crème fraîche or anything, do a little swirl of that with a teaspoon, yeah, if you want to be pretty. We're not doing that today. Serve with crusty bread. So what we'll be doing later for our tea, dinner, whichever you want to call it, wherever part of the world you're living in, and it's done. I'll show you pictures when it's finished, and hopefully you've seen some B-roll now. Like I said earlier, please subscribe, because we are loving doing what we're doing. We are just home cooks, just making wholesome food for you, for your family, for you and your friends. So come and subscribe, join Big Oggie World. If you happen to like golf, or just want to see more of my life as well when I'm not cooking, go and join Big Oggie Golf as well. We've also got a shop, an Amazon shop, which happens to be called Big Oggie Golf because that's the large channel right now, but that's got most of our food items, equipment, etc. on that we've bought from Amazon. So if you want to look on that and you want to buy any of the things, you will get, you know, the chance to use the same stuff we do, including this little hob and everything, and we'll get a few pennies to help us keep going with the channel. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Hope you enjoy this split pea and ham soup. It's going to be very nice, especially for weather like that today. Bye everybody.